Well, we're all ready now for the parade for the 1997 Duhallow football final between Kiskeam and Kanturk. The Newmarket Pipe Band, led by Pipe Major Donny Ford, leading the parade, and on the near side Kanturk in their green and white colours, led by their captain Kieran Fitzgerald. On the far side Kiskeam in their familiar black, led by Donny Anglin, their captain. Teams which have not met before in the Duhallow football final. This competition has been in existence since 1933, and believe it or not, these teams have never clashed in the final. Indeed, their championship clashes have been quite rare. They've only met once in a championship game in the last 10 years. That was in the 1991 semi-final when Kiskeam won. Kiskeam have actually won this championship twice in the past 3 years. They won in 1994, they won again in 1996. Kanturk haven't won since 1962. So we can imagine the celebrations there will be in Kanturk tonight if they bring off a success today after 35 years. They met Knocknagree in the 1992 final, 1962 final. I replayed that year, in fact, two great games, and they've been waiting ever since to regain the title, although they have indeed been very prominent in recent years. They've won the Alexander Cup, they've won the Nevin Cup, but this is the big one, and they'll be hoping for a success today, but their task will not be easy. Kiskeam, a very experienced team, waited for 30 years since 1964 to make a breakthrough in 1994, but once they did, they took a firm hold on the title, and they won it again in 1996. In fact, they were also involved in the final in 1995. This is their fourth successive final. And Kiskeam, the champions, with Sam O'Sullivan in goal, the full back line John Angland, Rafel Murphy and Donny Angland, the half back line Morris Angland, Eddie Angland and Dennis O'Leary, midfielders Tony Scannell and Eamon O'Mahony, the half forward line Declan Crim and Richard Dennehy and Tim Galvin, and the full forward line Niall Cronin, John Hurley and Jimmy Dennehy. And the Kanturk line out in goal Coleman Lane, the full back line Pat O'Reilly, Padraig Kearns and James Healy, the half back line Seamus Vaughan, John Murphy and Brian O'Connell. Midfielders are Kieran Fitzgerald and David O'Riordan. The half forward line Timothy Healy, Jerome Welsh and Aidan O'Keefe, and the full forward line Alan Buckley, Donal O'Connell and Frank Healy. A huge crowd here in Banteer today for these two finals, actually, because we just had the minor football final between Croke Rovers and Boherbee. Croke Rovers won that one by a goal margin, and a great minor football championship in Duhallow this year. It took Croke Rovers 6 games to win this championship. They had 3 games against Newmarket and then a draw against Boherbee on the first day, and they beat them today. So there are people from all over the division in here today, and this final was fixed for Rockchapel, but owing to ground conditions, transferred to Banteer, and the Banteer pitch in excellent shape today for this game. Indeed, not a mark on it after the minor final. There is a bit of a wind blowing, and it's blowing towards our right from where we are looking at the match here. A dull, overcast day, but we're fortunate to have it dry. The referee today is Niall O'Shea from Lyre, but originally a member of the Adrigal Club from West Cork, as former senior footballer himself, and also an experienced referee. Referee is normally attired in black, but of course Kiskeam have the black colours today, and Niall is very colourful there in his yellow jersey and black togs. Huge interest in this match, indeed in this championship, all the way along in the semi-finals. Kanturk drew with Drumtariff and then won by a point after extra time in the replay. Kiskeam beat Newmarket in the semi-final, having previously beaten Knocknagree, with whom they had such great games last year in last year's championship. 4 games in last year's championship. They beat them this year in the first round, and then, as I said, beat Newmarket in the semi-final. Now we'll have the national anthem. And I see one positional change on the Kanturk team that I called just a moment ago. Jerome Welsh is playing at midfield, and David O'Riordan, who is wearing number 9, is playing at centre half forward. And that has been the way in previous games. In the last game, the published team was changed in the same way. Jerome Welsh and Kieran Fitzgerald there for Kanturk. Kieran Fitzgerald, captain of the team. And for Kiskeam, Tony Scannell, one of the most experienced players in the field, and young Eamon O'Mahony, who's been making a fine impression in the last 2 years, last year and this year. And the throw in by Neil O'Shea, and the game is on, and the first man to break away is Kieran Fitzgerald, and he sends it down to David O'Riordan. David O'Riordan sends it up into the attack, but it's blocked out there by Rafel Murphy, the full back. And now Kiskeam going forward. That was Dennis O'Leary in possession now. It's a free out for Kiskeam, and Dennis O'Leary takes a high one down the field. And in comes James Healy for Kanturk. James, one of the great cornerbacks we've seen in Duhallow in recent times. Brian O'Connell cleared that one out. This is James Healy's brother Frank. Didn't get to the ball. Eamon O'Mahony for Kiskeam, up to Richard Dennehy, but Richard got a push there, and it's a free to Kiskeam. Niall Cronin for Kiskeam. John Murphy for Kanturk, and John sends Kanturk down the field into the attack, but Donny Anglin came out to it, and Donny sends it over now to Richard Dennehy, being challenged by John Murphy, and it's a free down now. Richard Dennehy, adjudged to have held the ball there. He was being challenged closely by John Murphy, the Kanturk centre half back. John Murphy's father, Sean, of course, a former Kanturk player, and his mother, no stranger to football either, sister to Michael O'Loughlin, who played centre field for Cork and for Kanturk. Timothy Healy sent that one in, but the Kiskeam goalkeeper Sam Sullivan clears it out, and Richard Dennehy fouled by John Murphy, and so it's a free to Kiskeam out in the middle of the field. Richard Dennehy sends it down, trying to find his brother Jimmy, but Padraig Kearns was just to have got that, picked that off the ground, so it's a free to Kiskeam. Jimmy Dennehy has it. Jimmy sends it down to Niall Cronin. Niall's blocked down by James Healy. Eamon O'Mahony brought that one out for Kiskeam, and it's the ball had actually gone wide. The ball had actually gone wide before Eamon O'Mahony got to it, so it's a kick out. It's a kick out for Kanturk, and Coleman Lane, who's been playing very well in this championship to date. Coleman, a young player, one of the younger of the Kanturk players, kicking the ball out against the wind, and the wind holds it and it drops into midfield. Kieran Fitzgerald tried to get it, but it drops down, and there is Declan Crimmon for Kiskeam, and Declan was fouled as he came towards the ball, and it's a free, and Eamon O'Mahony has the ball, but he's waiting for Jimmy Dennehy to come across, and Jimmy, of course, one of the most experienced players on the field, a great kicker of a dead ball, indeed, from any distance. We remember the kick he took in Páirc Uí Chaoimh that won Duhallow a county championship from a 50 in the last seconds of the county final. Really a pressurised kick, so Jimmy kicks this one short off the hand, and it goes back to him there from Declan Crimmon, but it's Pat O'Reilly who kicks it out. Jerome Welsh now for Kanturk. Donal O'Connell coming to the ball. Donal was made a good impression. It's full forward. Damon O'Keefe got it. Now it's Frank Healy for Kanturk. Frank sends it in, and John Angland for Kiskeam. John Angland had that well covered. Donny Angland. Donny, a long clearance up the field, availing of the wind advantage. John Hurley here for Kiskeam. The ball gets away from John. Richard Dennehy comes in. I think it was John Hurley who kicked that again. And this is Declan Crimmon for Kiskeam. Declan sends it across Eamon O'Mahony. coming to it, being closely challenged there. Closely challenged by David O'Riordan, but he gets it back. And this is Declan Crimmon for Kiskeam. Declan sends a ground ball there, but Padraig Kearns has it well covered. Padraig gets back, and Padraig takes a kick out here, but Declan Crimmon is there for Kiskeam. Declan being challenged, but gets it down to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy Dennehy sidesteps his man and kicks it across, and the ball goes wide. Well, 2 wides for Kiskeam already. The wind is favouring Kiskeam. It is also blowing a little bit angle ways across the field, so not going to be so difficult for forwards when they shoot, especially if they shoot high balls in. So we have 5 minutes gone in this 1997 Duhallow football final, and there's no score yet. Coleman Lane kicks the ball out into the middle of the field. Tony Scannell fisted down, but Brian O'Connell has it for Kanturk. Brian sends it down. Donny Anglin coming for it for Kiskeam. Donny on a bit of a run. He decides to keep going. He kicks it down, and Padraig Kearns gets it, and he shepherds it back to the Kanturk goalie, Coleman Lane. Coleman sends a high one coming to this side, and that's Morris Anglin, and it was just gone out over the line. So it's a line ball for Kiskeam. Or for Kanturk, I should have said. And Brian O'Connell. Brian, who was just home from America in time for the semi-final against Drumtariff. Brian kicks this one down, and it's Donny Anglin for Kiskeam being challenged there by Jerome Welsh. A free to Kiskeam. James Healy punches it across, and it goes out over the line, and it's a line ball to Kiskeam, and Morris Anglin, playing right half back, usually plays an attacking game, comes up the field when he sees an opportunity, kicks a high one in towards the goal. Coleman Lane has it covered. Coleman kicks it out to the far side. Tony Scannell going for it. So is Kieran Fitzgerald. Tony gets there and he kicks it in, and it's a high ball, and that's Brian O'Connell. Brian likes to play the role of an attacking half-back, often runs up the field over there on the far side for Kiskeam. Was Dennis O'Leary, and Dennis was fouled, and there's a free up to Kanturk. And Seamus Vaughan, I think, is going to take this kick. Son of Corny Vaughans, the former Boherby footballer. Seamus kicks it up into the centre. Eamon O'Mahony is there for Kiskeam. Gets it back to John Anglin. 3 of the Anglin brothers playing for Kiskeam today. Morris, Tony and John. And their father, of course, John P., was a member of the Kiskeam team that won the 1964 county championship. John Anglin there again. John clears it out over the line, so it's a line ball for Kanturk on the far side. And this is Timothy Healy, the Kanturk sharp shooter. It's far out. He's not going to go for a score this time. He's going to drop it in. Jerome Welsh gets it, and Jerome fists it over the bar. Oh no, yes indeed, Jerome fists it over the bar. So the first score of the game goes to Kanturk. Kanturk have taken a point lead after 8 minutes. Sam O'Sullivan with the kick out for Kiskeam. Declan Crimmon blocked it down, trying to get to it. It goes up there. That's Alan Buckley. That's Alan Buckley for Kanturk. Alan being challenged there, but gets it across to Frank Healy. Frank twists and turns, gives it to Kieran Fitzgerald, and Kieran drops a great shot over the bar. Kieran Fitzgerald, a great shot over the bar, and of course Kieran was in goal for Kanturk for a number of years and then transferred out to midfield, and He's following in his father's footsteps, really, because Don Fitzgerald was in goal for Kanturk in the 1962 drawn game against Knocknagree, and he came out to midfield in the second, or to left half forward on the second, for the second game, and scored a goal and 2 points. Well, Kieran has led his team by example there by scoring a Kanturk point. That's Seamus Vaughan for Kanturk. Eamon O'Mahony tried to get the ball there across to a colleague, but Seamus Vaughan intercepted and got a knock, and he's down at the moment and getting attention. Well, Seamus is up and he's all right, and James Healy is about to take the free. James kicks a high one up, but Tony Scannell is under for Kiskeam. Tony sends Kiskeam back into the attack. John Hurley here racing for it there, but in comes Seamus Vaughan for Kanturk. Kanturk defending well. That's John Hurley now. John gives a quick look to see what his options are, and the option is to send it across to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy sends it in now. Declan Crimmin coming for it for Kiskeam. Declan Crimmin, being closely challenged, gets it back to Jimmy Dennehy, and Jimmy takes a shot from an angle, an acute angle, and the ball crosses, goes across the goal mouth and wide. Well, the Kiskeam backs, our forwards, not getting a great deal of freedom from those Kanturk backs. They're marking very tightly, closing down the options so far. So Kanturk have 2 points on the board. Kiskeam have yet to score. After 10 minutes of the first half, and as I said, a huge crowd here in Banteer, the whole arena ringed with people, and a sight over there on the hill as the cars are parked all over the place. A great feeling there by Brian O'Connell. Brian wins a free, sends the ball up. Frank Healy tries to get to it, but it's Tony Scannell for Kiskeam, with Kieran Fitzgerald. Tony sends it back to Eddie Angland. Eddie kicks Kiskeam into the attack. And there's a free for Kiskeam. A free to Kiskeam, and Morris Angland is giving it to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy might go for the point. He's kicking it off the hand. He used to do that, but a lot of players are kicking off the hand now, but it didn't prove a successful ply, and people will be saying he was such an expert at kicking them off the ground that maybe he should have taken that option, but that's always said when things go wrong. It didn't go right for Jimmy on this occasion, and that leaves Kiskeam still without a score, and Kanturk leading by 2 points. And after 12 minutes, as Coleman Lane prepares to take the kick out, everyone expected a close game here today, and that's the way it's proving so far. Kanturk just that 2 points ahead, but Kiskeam dangerous at any moment. Eamon O'Mahony had it there, gives it up to Eddie Angland, but in comes Seamus Vaughan for Kanturk. I think it was, or was it John Murphy? It was Seamus Vaughan who cleared that out on the far side, and it's a free. Well, I wouldn't be sure whether it was Seamus Vaughan or John Murphy got the boot to it, but it's Seamus Vaughan is now taking the free for Kanturk. It was John Murphy, actually. And he kicks it up, Alan Buckley comes for it, but it's cleared out by John Angland, and it comes to Tim Galvin. And up there to John Hurley. John, a great man to come to the ball, always tries to be in front of his man, and when he goes, he's like a hare. He's cleaning in, racing in towards the goal, and he taps it over the bar. And that was a typical run by John Hurley, because he has great speed once he gets possession, and as I said, he always tries to get in front of his man, and the Kiskeam forwards know that. They usually place him nicely. And he did the business on that occasion, racing in from the wing, tapping it over the bar. So Kiskeam have opened their account. 2 points now for Kanturk, 1 for Kiskeam. Coleman Lane's kick out comes to Seamus Vaughan. Sends it over the line. Well, it's a throwing ball there, Gerald Morden. There must have been a Kiskeam man involved as well. Gerald Morden throws it up, and Jerome Welsh had a firm grip on it there for Kanturk. Tony Scannell. Richard Dennehy was there for Kiskeam, but Eamon O'Mahony was there as well. But the referee may have decided the two players got their hands on the ball together, so he throws it up. And this time Eamon O'Mahony got it back, but it's Kieran Fitzgerald for Kanturk, and Kieran kicks it up close to the wing, but it's John Anglin for Kiskeam. John Anglin coming out and sending it across there to, well, it goes down James Healy. James Healy got it out for Kanturk, and Aidan O'Keefe for Kanturk. Up to Timothy Healy. Timothy looking for his options, gets it back to Brian O'Connell. Brian sent it in. Donald O'Connell was making a run to come for it, but Donny Anglin got there first. Now it's Richard Dennehy. Richard Dennehy sends it down to Declan Cremin, and it just got away from Declan, so that's a line ball for Kanturk. A quarter of an hour gone, the score, 2 points for Kanturk, 1 for Kiskeam, low scoring, good defending on both sides. Brian O'Connell's kick, Donny Anglin has this well covered, and Donald got a bit of a catch there from Frank Healy, not much, but still got a free out, and James Healy now gets it up, tries to get it to John Murphy. It goes across to Aidan O'Keefe. Aidan gets a challenge there. Aidan gets a challenge there from Tim Galvin, but it's a free into Kiskeam. Referee must have judged that Aidan took the ball too far. Jimmy Dennehy. Brian O'Connell blocks it down. Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy Dennehy. Foul there. A free into Kiskeam. This will give Jimmy Dennehy a chance to level the scores. There is an angle, and of course the wind is blowing across the field. It's a difficult one. Jimmy kicks off his hand, and this time it goes directly over the bar. A great kick for Jimmy Dennehy to bring Kiskeam level. "17 minutes gone and the teams are level." Looks like being a close game all through, but of course one never can say. A break at either side could be decisive. Neither team has threatened for a goal yet. Kick out into the centre of the field, and it goes out over the line, and a line ball to Kanturk. Brian O'Connell taking it. Knocked down there by Jerome Welsh. Now it's Morris Anglin. Morris, a great determined player to come out of a tight situation, sent it down to John Herlihy. John being closely challenged there by Padraig Kearns, and the referee says that John overplayed the ball, and so it's a free out to Kanturk to be taken by Coleman Lane. And we can hear a train coming in the background. But our concentration remains in this hard-fought Duhallow final. Good fielding there by Jerome Welsh. And Jerome gets it up to the captain of the team, Kieran Fitzgerald, who is closely challenged by Eamon O'Mahony, but gets in his kick. It goes to the far side there to Donny Anglin. Confronted by Frank Healy, gets it back to Dennis O'Leary. Dennis kicks it out on the far side to Tony Scannell, but it got away from Tony over the line. That's Dave O'Riordan taking the kick for Kanturk. Donny Angland covering off again for Kiskeam, back into the centre of the field. Niall Cronin for Kiskeam. Niall trying to find Jimmy Dennehy. The ball hops behind him, and that's Pat O'Reilly. Pat O'Reilly, whose father Charlie played for Knoxgavon in former years. Pat O'Reilly, one of the Kanturk young players who have been making a mark in this championship. A good defender. Coleman Lane kicks it out into the middle of the field. Jerome Welch is going up for it, and Jerome fields it securely, but it's snapped there by Eddie Angland as it dropped Richard Dennehy now for Kiskeam. Richard up to his brother Jimmy. Jimmy, he goes down and he's been closely challenged there. He's been closely challenged there by, I think it was Pat O'Reilly, and it's a free in. A free in for Kiskeam, and Jimmy is kicking this off the hand again. And he kicks a high one, and it's over the bar. Another point for Kiskeam. And with 21 minutes gone, the champions have gone ahead. 3 points now for Kiskeam, 2 for Kanturk. Kiskeam are playing with the wind in the first half. They've had more of the play than Kanturk in the last 10 minutes, but they're just a point ahead. Ball out into the centre of the field. John Murphy. John kicks Kanturk forward. Rafel Murphy cleared it out, but there's no Kanturk forward there as Donny Angland gets it, and he sends it out. But it's Aidan O'Keefe who gets it for Kanturk, and Aidan is taking it in, and it's cleared out by Morris. It was cleared out there by Morris Angland. It's down now on the far side of the field, and that's Brian O'Connell for Kanturk. Jerome Welsh for Kanturk. Donald O'Connell now for Kanturk, being challenged by Richard Dennehy over to Kieran Fitzgerald. Kieran Fitzgerald to Donald O'Connell, and Donald judged to have taken the ball so too far, and it's a free up to Kiskeam. Ball being retrieved from the far side of the field, kicked back by Jimmy Dennehy, and Richard Dennehy is sending it back to Eddie Angland. Eddie kicks a high one down. Eamon O'Mahony going for it for Kiskeam, back to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy being challenged by Seamus Vaughan. Gets in the clear again, drops it in, and Coleman Lane comes to it. It was a tricky one. It was hopped high, but Coleman came to it well, kicking the ball out there. And Aidan O'Keefe for Kanturk. Aidan sent it to the far side. Goes Frank Healy, but it's Rafel Murphy, Dennis O'Leary now. That's Tim Galvin on the far side. It's a free in to Kiskeam. Or it's a throw-in rather, I think. Yes, indeed. Referee Neil O'Shea calling the players around. It's a throw-in. Kieran Fitzgerald, Eamon O'Mahony there. Tony Scannell is there. Richard Dennehy, John Murphy, Dave O'Riordan, they're all. Jimmy Dennehy, they're all watching it. And then the referee is going to take a player's name. He takes John Murphy's name. John may have said something. Now we're ready for the throw in, and it's Kieran Fitzgerald who went up with the ball, got away from him. Now it's a free for Kiskeam. Richard Dennehy fell on the ball, and Jimmy Dennehy is taking the free. A high one in towards the goal, and it's a free out for Kanturk. It's a free out for Kanturk. Kanturk goalie Coleman Lane is going to take the free. 25 minutes gone in the first half, low scoring. 3 points for Kiskeam, 2 for Kanturk. Kiskeam playing with the wind in the first half. Very little between the teams on the play as Coleman Lane kicks this one. Brian O'Connell, Declan Cremin for Kiskeam into John Herlihy. John takes a firm grip on it. Now he's on a run again. He's being policed by Porter Kearns, the Kanturk fullback, but he takes his kick and it goes over the bar. A great point there by John Herlihy to extend Kiskeam's lead. 4 points now to 2. Kiskeam forwards, dangerous when they get an opening. The two chief marksmen always, Jimmy Dennehy and John Herlihy, but indeed the others can score as well, as they have done many times in this championship. That's Timothy Healy, Kanturk's leading scorer in the championship so far. Timothy puts it up in front of his brother Frank, and Frank takes a kick and it goes wide. Experienced Kiskeam goalkeeper Sam O'Sullivan kicks the ball, the wind behind him, right into the centre of the field. It's fisted along there by Tony Scannell. It goes up to Niall Cronin. Niall Cronin on the ground, and he holds on to the ball. James Healy was behind him, but it's a free to Kanturk, and Niall is slow to release the ball, but now James Healy kicks the free up, but Morris Anglin blocks it down. Now it's Jerome Welsh who comes in there. Jerome sends it across to Aidan O'Keefe, and Aidan sends the ball in, but Sam O'Sullivan, well, it was a dangerous one for a moment, but Sam got it under control and got it out. John Murphy now has the ball going forward, kicks it down, but there's no Kanturk forward there, and in comes O'Donnell Anglin. Donny out to John Anglin. John Anglin up to Eamon O'Mahony. Eamon being tackled there by Dave O'Riordan, and it's a free out to Kiskeam. And John Anglin is taking it, and a high one there, breaks away towards the line, and broke away from Declan Cremin. So Dave O'Riordan takes the line ball. Raphael got a knock there, but took it in his stride, and Eddie Anglin kicks it out, and Jimmy Dennehy is racing for it in front of Pat O'Reilly, and Jimmy Dennehy kicks the ball in. He's trying to find John Herlihy, but John doesn't get to it. Patrick Kearns gets there in front of him and now gets a free and sends it out to Seamus Fahan. Seamus sidesteps Tim Galvin, sends it up. Timothy Healy is coming for Kanturk. Donny Anglin for Kiskeam. Donny gets the ball and he's hampered, and it's a free to Kiskeam, and it goes across quickly to Richard Dennehy. Richard Dennehy being challenged there and dispossessed by John Murphy, and it goes up now to Jerome Welsh for Kanturk, and Jerome sends the ball down, and Frank Healy is racing for it, and so is Donny Anglin. Frank has it, Frank Healy has it, and he kicks it across the goal, and it goes wide. And of course, Kanturk regretting those few chances. They're not getting the ball that often into a scoring position, and they've missed 2 points now that they might have had. And that leaves Kiskeam leading by 2 points, 4 points to 2. As we approach half time, very little time to go now in the first half. Sam O'Sullivan kicking the ball out for Kiskeam. Knocked down there by Aidan O'Keefe. Morris Angland. And Morris was adjudged to being tripped as he went across by Donald O'Connell and Donny Angland to take the free for Kiskeam. Donny kicks a high one, trying to find Jimmy Dennehy, but out comes Pat O'Reilly, and Pat O'Reilly was fouled. And it's a free out to Kanturk. The wind is freshening. It will be favouring Kanturk in the second half. James Healy. And that's Frank Healy who nips in there and gets that very smartly. Aidan O'Keefe over to Jerome Welch. Can Kanturk pull something off before half-time? Jerome Welch is fouled. Jerome Welch is fouled there. There were 2 or 3 Kiskeam players around him. They weren't going to let him get through. And Timothy Healy putting down the ball, and unless the wind affects the kick, Timothy is usually very accurate, and especially from this distance and position. It should be no trouble to him, but one can never say until the ball is over the bar. The easy ones often don't go right, but this time it does for Timothy Healy. It's over the bar and there's only a point in it. 4 points for Kiskeam, 3 for Kanturk. And that's the last score of the first half, because the referee has blown the half-time whistle. A close, interesting, exciting first half. With Kiskeam having played with the wind, they're just a point ahead. And now Kanturk will be hoping to avail of that advantage, although indeed it's a contrary wind in ways. It's blowing across the field a bit and hard. Sometimes teams play better with the wind than against it, so we have to wait for the second half to see what happens. But at the moment it's wide open with Kanturk, with Kiskeam, the champions, leading Kanturk by 1 point, 4 points to 3, as they take the half-time break.
Obstruction. The order of right pushback. 91, take care. 1298 is the moment.
Oh, Manny. Right, gentlemen.
Same 4 midfielders waiting for the throw-in. Neil O'Shea having a close check on his watch, and he throws the ball in and the game is on. And the first man to get it is Tony Scannell, and Tony gets it out to Eddie Angland. And Eddie kicks it down, but there are Kanturk backs there, and the back that's in possession now is James Healy. And James into long clearance up the field. Kanturk have the win behind them in this half. John Angland was there, but Frank Healy has it now for Kanturk, or Alan Buckley rather. And Alan takes a quick kick into Frank Healy, and Frank goes for the point, and he puts it over the bar. Kanturk have a good start made to the second half. Within about 30 seconds of the throw-in, Alan Buckley got the ball down there to Frank Healy, and Frank got the point that brought Kanturk level, so it's 4 points apiece now. Sam O'Sullivan's kick out, or sorry, it's Eamon O'Mahony went for it. Morris Angler now for Kiskeam on the far side. That's Niall Cronin up to Tony Scannell. Tony sends it down, but is blocked down there by Brian O'Connell. Brian's puck is blocked, and it comes back to John Murphy. Close tackling there, and John Hurley, he has it for Kiskeam, and John drops it wide. Well, Kanturk backs found it difficult to get the ball away there because the Kiskeam players confronted them. Two Kanturk backs in turn were prevented from clearing the ball, and then it broke to John Hurley, and John sent it narrowly wide, so the score remains 4 points apiece. Coleman Lane out into the middle. Niall Cronin for Kiskeam. Niall sends it down. Declan Crimmon for Kiskeam. Declan takes a shot for a point, but sends it at the other side of the post, and it goes wide. Well, Kanturk have made good use of their only attack so far. Frank Healy got a point. Kiskeam have had 2 points in the last, 2 wides in the last few minutes. John Hurley and Declan Crimmon missing the target. Another kick out from Kanturk, for Kanturk by Coleman Lane. Jerome Welsh, a great feeling there by Jerome. Over to Kieran Fitzgerald. Kieran sends it down to Donald O'Connell. Donald O'Connell to Timothy Healy. Timothy turns quickly and kicks it, and it's dropping in towards the goal, and it's an effort there. An effort there by Alan Buckley, and Donald O'Connell was there too to fist it in, but it went wide. There was a dangerous ball dropping into the Kiskeam goal mouth, but everything went all right for Kiskeam. Ball fisted away wide, and it's a kick out for Sam O'Sullivan, the Kiskeam goalkeeper. And this goes to Niall Cronin for Kiskeam, and Morris England sends it up. It gets back behind Jimmy Dennehy. This is Pat O'Reilly for Kanturk. Pat kicks it, and it's blocked down, but he gets a second chance, and now he sends it up to Dave O'Riordan. Dave O'Riordan, who got the points that brought it Kanturk level, sent that one over to Seamus Vaughan. Seamus Vaughan down to James Healy. A free out to Kiskeam. Now it's Seamus Vaughan down to Timothy Healy. Timothy being confronted by Eddie Angland. Gets it back, it's Donny Angland. Now it's Eddie Angland for Kiskeam. Up to Niall Cronin. Niall across to Tony Scannell. Into Jimmy Dennehy. Confronted by Pat O'Reilly. Jimmy taps the ball on his foot. Gets it in. Now just Niall Cronin takes a shot. It goes to the far side, and this is Padraig Kearns who clears it out into the centre to Jerome Welsh. Jerome fists it across to Kieran Fitzgerald. Kieran kicks it forward, and Aidan O'Keefe is coming for it there. Morris England was there for a moment, but Kieran Fitzgerald, or Aidan O'Keefe rather, foul there, and Dave O'Riordan sends a quick one down to Aidan O'Keefe, and Aidan takes a shot, and it's going over the bar. A great kick there by Aidan O'Keefe, and Dave O'Riordan sent that ball down cleverly to him, and Aidan kicked it for an angle, so Kanturk have gone a point ahead, 5 points to 4. And there's a substitution on the Kiskeam team. 5 minutes into the second half, John Doody is on the team for Declan Crimmon. Kick out there. John Angland for Kiskeam. John into the centre to Eamon O'Mahony, but it goes across to Tim Galvin. Tim being challenged by Seamus Vaughan. Free to Kiskeam. Dennis O'Leary. Dennis kicks it across to Niall Cronin. Niall controls it well, being challenged by Kieran Fitzgerald. Gets the ball down now to John Herlihy. John looking for Jimmy Dennehy, finds him. Jimmy takes a kick and it's over the bar. A lovely touch there by Jimmy Dennehy from a pass by John Herlihy. 6 minutes into the second half and the scores are level again. 5 points apiece. Hard to say at this moment which of these teams will emerge with the trophy. Will Kiskeam retain their title, or will Kanturk win it back after 35 years? It's anyone's guess at this stage. Ball out into the centre of the field. Eamon O'Mahony grabs it for Kiskeam, is fouled, and so it's a free out there to Kiskeam. John Doody. John Doody on a run. And he's being challenged by Brian O'Connell, but he gets it back to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy Dennehy in towards Niall Cronin, but James Healy makes a quick interception there, and James clears it out. Aidan O'Keefe jumping for it. Eamon O'Mahony punches it down. No, Eamon O'Mahony has it now, really. And Tony Scannell on the far side, being challenged by Kieran Fitzgerald. That's Richard Dennehy for Kiskeam. Across to Morris Anglin. Morris Anglin to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy Dennehy being confronted by John Murphy. Jimmy sidesteps, John half blocks the kick, and it goes back there into the safe hands of James Healy. Up now to his brother Frank Healy, playing far out from goal. This is John Murphy up to Jerome Welsh, and Jerome sends it down. And Alan Buckley blocks it down into Noel O'Connell, and Alan Buckley is in the run, and it's saved. The save by Sam O'Sullivan. Hard to know whether it was going for the corner or the net or wide. It was very close to the post. But at any rate, Sam O'Sullivan saved it. Now Kiskeam moving up the field. Richard Dennehy playing it on his foot. Richard Dennehy sending it forward. But that's Brian O'Connell. Brian O'Connell being fouled and a free out to Kanturk. Well, there was a moment of great danger for Kiskeam there as Donald O'Connell and Alan Buckley bore down on the goal, but the situation was averted. The danger was averted. Frank Healy to Jerome Welsh. Jerome Welsh kicks the ball forward. Donald O'Connell punches it across, and it's sent across by Alan Buckley. But in comes Morris Anglin, and that was a very timely interception by Morris Anglin, because there was danger there again for Kiskeam. And now it's a free out to Kiskeam, and that'll be a relief, because on 2 occasions now Kanturk have threatened for a goal, but they've not succeeded on either occasion. Nine minutes gone in the second half, and the scores are level. Sam O'Sullivan's kick dropping into the middle of the field. Kieran Fitzgerald fists it down, but it's Morris Anglin who kicks it out there, and that is Seamus Vaughan. Seamus Vaughan back to Padraig Kearns for Kanturk, and Padraig, the full back, comes out, and Dave O'Riordan tried to get to it, but it's kicked up there by the Kiskeam centre back Eddie Anglin to John Doody. Richard Dennehy going for it, but that's John Murphy. John playing very soundly at centre back indeed. Most of the players on the field at the moment are doing their bit. Backs playing soundly, not making it easy for forwards to get the breaks. And when they do, as Kanturk seem to be bearing down in the Kiskeam goal dangerously, the danger was averted. And that's James Healy on the far side with a kick, a high kick, and several players trying to get under it, but it's Morris Anglin whose kick counts. Morris sends it across here to Jimmy Dennehy. Not many players in front of him, but John Herlihy comes to it now, and John is being chased by Padraig Kearns. John hops the ball in his foot, takes a sidestep, sends it back to Jimmy Dennehy. And now John Herlihy gets it and sends it across the goal and wide. And the scores remain level, 5 points each. With 10 minutes gone in the second half. A very close contest. Game still wide open. A goal for either side would be a huge influence in this game, but it hasn't threatened to come yet. That's Niall Cronin who got it to John Herlihy, and John is now sizing up his options. He turns and twists for the ball. He's very fast, and now he kicks it, and it crosses the goal, and it's blocked down there, and out comes the Kanturk goalie, Coleman Lane, and Coleman's trying to find Kieran Fitzgerald with the ball. Didn't go far enough, and Tony Scannell got it, and Richard Dennehy sends it down now, but it's kicked out there. It's kicked out there by, was it Padraig Kearns for Kanturk? No, in fact it was John O'Reilly who kicked, Pat O'Reilly who kicked, but that is Eddie Angland over to Richard Dennehy, and Richard drops it, retrieves it, now sends it back to Tim Galvin, and Tim is fouled there by Seamus Vaughan, and a free in to Kiskeam, and Jimmy Dennehy will be hoping to put Kiskeam ahead again with this kick. And Jimmy doesn't miss often, and he doesn't miss this time. And Kiskeam have gone a point ahead again, 6 points now to 5. 12 minutes gone in the second half. Well, Dave O'Riordan has gone full back for Kanturk. No, it's Brian O'Connell, I think. No, Dave O'Riordan has gone full back for Kanturk. And Padraig Kearns has gone out to midfield now. And the ball there on the far side, that's Tim Galvin for Kiskeam. And in goes John Doody. And John Doody made a run there, and Kiskeam have got a vital goal. A great goal there by John Doody, who raced in great style, grabbed the ball and gave Coleman Lane no chance. So Kiskeam have gone 4 points ahead, 1-6 now to 5 points. Richard Dennehy for Kiskeam being challenged there by John Murphy, and a free to Kiskeam. Ball out now to John Herlihy. Can Kanturk react now? Kiskeam playing very confidently now after that goal. Niall Cronin back to Richard Dennehy, but Richard's kick goes wide, but it doesn't go wide, it goes to the far side. Tim Galvin kicks it into the centre, but it's safely fielded there by Dave O'Riordan. Dave clears it out into the middle of the field, but there's no one there but Eddie Angland, and Eddie sends it across there to Tony Scannell. Tony to Richard Dennehy, or at least beyond Richard Dennehy. Richard chases the ball, gets it, being confronted by Padraig Kearns, gets it down to John Doody. And there's a free for Kiskeam. And will Jimmy Dennehy go for the points from that angle, or will he drop it in? Wouldn't surprise me all that much if Jimmy went for the points, because he's usually very confident with these free kicks. No, he doesn't. He sends it over to Niall Cronin, and Niall sends it back to him, and Jimmy got into a better position for the kick, but the Kanturk goalie, Coleman Lane, blocks it down, clears it out into the centre of the field, and that's Eddie Angland. Or is it Morris Angland? It's Morris Angland. Morris on a run gets it up to John Herlihy. John being closely challenged there by Dave O'Riordan, and Dave gets the ball, clears it out into the centre of the field, but That's Eddie Anglin in front of Donald O'Connell. Eddie tumbles there, gets it back to Tim Galvin. Tim Galvin to Eamon O'Mahony. Eamon across to Richard Dennehy. It passes Richard Dennehy. John Welsh goes for it with Niall Cronin. And in comes Aidan O'Keefe. Aidan O'Keefe back, and Dave O'Riordan took a kick at it there, gets it up the field. And that's a free to... That's a free to Kiskeam, as Donny Anglin was fouled there, and Donny is letting it for Dennis O'Leary to kick, and Dennis gets it again, and Dennis sends it down, aiming for Richard Dennehy, but John Murphy is there too, and Richard Dennehy goes out over the line off Richard Dennehy. So John Murphy takes the kick and into the centre. Donald O'Connell tried to get to it, but it's Donny Anglin up to Niall Cronin. Niall Cronin across to Jimmy Dennehy. Jimmy confronted by Brian O'Connell, down to John Doody for Kiskeam, and John is racing with Pat O'Reilly into the goalie, and it's another goal. It's another goal for Kiskeam. Fisted in there by Eamon O'Mahony. Fisted in there by Eamon O'Mahony. John Doody sent the ball into the square. And as the ball hopped around there, it was Eamon O'Mahony who fisted it to the net. So Kiskeam have taken a commanding lead now. 2-6 for Kiskeam. 5 points for Kanturk. A huge task in front of Kanturk now. As the ball goes up there, Donald O'Connell. Donny Anglin. John Anglin now for Kiskeam. That's part of Cairns for Kanturk, down to Brian O'Connell. Trying to get something going, but the Kiskeam backs are very solid, very tough. Eamon O'Mahony out to Tony Scannell. Tony up on the far side. John Doody was there, but it's John Murphy coming in for Kanturk. And it's a free to Kanturk. 12 minutes to go in this Duhallow final, and Aidan O'Keefe kicks it in, and it goes wide. Or at least it was touched there at the last moment, and it's a 45 for Kanturk. Kiskeam now in a very strong position, but Kanturk trying to get something going. Timothy Healy has a point. Jerome Welsh gave that ball to him, and Timothy Healy has knocked a point off of it. It's 2-6 for Kiskeam and 6 points for Kanturk. There are 6 points in it. It's asking a lot of Kanturk to bring down those 6 points. In the last 11 minutes of the game, they'll be fighting hard. Kiskeam took a decisive advantage there with those 2 goals, and it was always on the cards that the team that got a goal, and certainly the team that would get 2 goals, would be in a very strong position to take the title, and Kiskeam are in that position now. That's Pádraig Kearns racing for the ball in the far side of the field with Tony Scannell. Kicked down now, and James Healy, the cornerback, comes up for Kanturk. James in the run, he's being challenged there by Eddie Anglin. James holding onto the ball and sends it in, and that's Alan Buckley across to Timothy Healy, and Timothy Healy has fisted the ball to the net. And the flag goes up, and Kanturk have knocked a goal off Kiskeam's lead. The referee is going in for a consultation with the umpires. Perhaps the question was Timothy Healy inside the square when he punched that ball? The referee ushering the Kiskeam players away, and the flag goes up. Timothy Healy was not adjudged to have been inside the square. We couldn't see from this angle, and the lead is down to a goal now. It was 7 points a few minutes ago. Now it's down to a goal. Kanturk are back in this game with 10 minutes to go. in the 1997 Duhallow football final.
Morris Anglin off Kiskeam injured and Bernard Breen is on.
Now the change of the Kiskeam team. Morris Anglin has gone off injured, and that's going to be a big loss to Kiskeam. Bernard Breen is on, and that's Bernard over there in possession of the far side of the field. Bernard Breen kicks it up to Eamon O'Mahony. Eamon being challenged by Jerome Welsh, gets in his kick. Hectic stuff here now. Kanturk just a goal behind, and the ball out over the line. A line ball for Kanturk. Pat O'Reilly about to kick it for Kanturk. Gets height into it, distance into it. It's dropping down, and it drops down, and Jerome Welsh kicks it forward, and Kieran Fitzgerald got it. Timothy Healy has it now for Kanturk, and Timothy drops it over the bar, and there are only 2 points in it. Well, it looked a while ago as if this Kiskeam had this game in the bag, but now it's wide open again. Kanturk just 2 points behind. A great comeback by Kanturk. That goal made all the difference, and this is giving Kanturk new confidence. So now there's going to be a tremendous battle for this title in the closing 8 minutes of this game. Tony Scannell using all his experience there. Tony comes into the centre, gets it back up to Niall Cronin. Niall Cronin back to Tony Scannell. Tony kicks Kiskeam forward. Dave O'Riordan blocks it down there for Kanturk, and in comes James Healy. And James Healy sends it up on the far side of the field to Donald O'Connell. Donald O'Connell puts it in front of Pádraig Kearns. Pádraig Kearns in the run. Pádraig is going to fist it in, and he fisted it into Kieran Fitzgerald. And Kieran's shot was blocked by the Kiskeam goalkeeper, Sam O'Sullivan. Well, there was a chance there for Kanturk, but Sam O'Sullivan blocked off the way. There's still a chance with a 50 for Kanturk. A 45. Timothy Healy going to kick it off the ground. A lot of players kicking these off the hand now, but Timothy kicks it down to his brother Frank. Frank sends it in, and it goes into the hands of Sam O'Sullivan, and the referee judges that there were Kanturk players in the square, and he gives a free out to Kiskeam, and that ball is cleared out there by one of the Anglin brothers, and that's John Murphy. Sends it down out to Alan Buckley. Kanturk now coming back, and Alan sends it across the goal. Will it stay in play? And it's Kieran Fitzgerald who has it, gets it back to Aidan O'Keefe, and Eamon's blocked down, but Pádraig Kearns sends it over the bar. Well, Pádraig Kearns, who may have been sorry that he didn't go for a point instead of passing it in a while ago. Pádraig makes no mistake this time. He puts it over the bar, and it's down to a point now. 2-6 for Kanturk, that's 12 points. 1-8 for Kiskeam. 2-6 for Kiskeam, I should have said. That's 12 points. 1-8 for Kanturk. That's 11 points, just a point in it. And Kanturk have made a remarkable recovery. They look to be out of it, and now they've come back, and there's just over 5 minutes to go. Just 1 point in the difference between the teams. John Murphy fielded that ball, or blocked that ball down there, fisted it down. Pádraig Kearns got it now. It's a free for Kanturk, and it's grabbed there by Rafel Murphy. Rafel Murphy out to Tony Scannell. Tony Scannell up on the far side of the field, and this is Pat O'Reilly for Kanturk. Frank Healy grabs it, being challenged there, and Jerome Welsh for Kanturk. Jerome Welsh sends it into Donald O'Connell, and Donald slips and falls, and he fists it into Timothy Healy, and it's fielded there by Rafel Murphy. Rafel out. Kanturk may have lost a chance on that occasion. Tim Galvin. Tim turns.
Donny England again.
Donny England. Out to Dennis O'Leary. Dennis O'Leary out to Niall Cronin. Look where Niall Cronin is. He's a corner forward. He's big up in the back. Dave O'Riordan for Kanturk. Back to Brian O'Connell. This is hectic stuff now as Kanturk battle to bring down that point lead. There's Donald O'Connell. Back to Timothy Healy. Timothy Healy sends it into Donald O'Connell again. There's tight marking. And now it goes to Joram Welsh, and Joram sends it. Oh, just barely wide. It was touched by Sam O'Sullivan as it went out. Joram went for the goal there. Joram went for the goal there, and Sam O'Sullivan just touched it, so it's a 45. Timothy Healy will take this 45. Will he go for a score this time, or will he do as he did a few moments ago, pass it on to some player nearer to the goal? Well, Frank Healy made a run out there, closely policed by Eamon O'Mahony. Frank possibly in anticipation of his brother's kick. 4 minutes to go. Timothy Healy taking the kick. Timothy kicks it into the goal mouth, and it goes wide. It goes wide. Well, Frank Healy wasn't far out. Alan Buckley. Frank Healy wasn't far away from it. Or was it Alan Buckley? It was Alan Buckley who wasn't far away from it, just barely missed it. There were Kiskeam backs around the place too, but it escaped them all and went wide, and that was a loss to Kanturk. They're just a point behind. It will be dangerous for Kanturk if Kiskeam go up the field again, because Kiskeam have that point lead, and there's tremendous tension and excitement here in Bantier now. Kanturk, 35 years since they won the title, just a point behind Kiskeam, holders of the title, leading by 1 point, trying desperately to hold on to their championship crown. That was Aidan O'Keefe with the ball. He was fouled, and it's a free in to Kanturk, and Timothy Healy is going over to take it. Well, what will Timothy do this time? Will he go all the way for the point? He goes the whole distance, and he drops it wide, and that's a loss to Kanturk. The ball goes wide. Kiskeam are still that point ahead. Kanturk have had a few chances of the equaliser in the last few minutes, and they've missed them. Those misses could prove costly, because they can't afford to concede another point now, and if Kiskeam go down the field, they'll be dangerous. Just about 3 minutes to go. Sam O'Sullivan's kick out into the centre of the field. Who gets this one? It's blocked down. It's Timothy Healy who grabs it for Kanturk. Timothy gets it back to Jerome Welsh. Jerome Welsh gets it down to Frank Healy. Frank Healy being closely policed there by Eddie Anglin. Gets it across to Jerome Welsh, and that's... Oh, Jerome would have been better advised to go over a score there. He tried to get it to Timothy Healy, but it's a free into Kanturk. It's a free into Kanturk. Bernard Breen that got that ball, intercepted that ball, but eventually it's a free into Kanturk, and there's an awful lot hanging on this free now. Just about 2 minutes to go. 1 point in the difference between the teams. Kanturk are that point behind, but they have a chance now of pulling it back to level terms with Timothy Healy right in front of the goal. Timothy doesn't often miss these ones, but there's a lot of pressure on this kick. There's a lot of pressure on him as he takes this kick, and he takes the run, and he sends it straight and through over the bar, and the scores are level. The scores are level. Kiskeam have come back, or Kanturk have come back from 7 points down, and now they're level. Kiskeam 2-6, Kanturk 1-9. Well, what a thriller we've had here. What a thriller we've had here in Bantier today with this huge crowd. A great minor final now, a great junior football final. There's a Kiskeam player down there in the goal mouth. I think it was Donny Angland. But he's up and resuming his place again. And so it's a kick out from the Kiskeam. Goal by Sam O'Sullivan. Referee having a word with Donny Angland there. Downey must have been saying something to the referee there, but he's got a warning. His name hasn't got into the book, but he's been advised by the referee to cool it down, and so Sam O'Sullivan takes this kick. And Donald O'Connell now having a word with the referee. His name is going into the book. Well, the end of normal time has arrived, and the kick out from the Kiskeam goal by Sam O'Sullivan. The scores are level. Every kick now, every grasp for the ball is vital, and it drops down to Jerome Welsh, and Jerome is going to take a kick, and he kicks it forward. And who gets there? Who gets there? Well, they're racing for it. Sam O'Sullivan gets it. Sam O'Sullivan gets it. I think that's James Healy, the Kanturk corner back up there. It is indeed, and it's a free up to Kiskeam. That was Eddie Agland, and the game is over. Niall O'Shea has blown the final whistle, and the game is over. It has resulted in a draw. 2-6 for Kiskeam, 1-9 for Kanturk. And what a tremendous finish we had to this game. Kiskeam leading by 7 points, and Kanturk brought it back. Those goals in the last 10 minutes retrieved the situation for Kanturk. So this huge crowd going home having seen a very, very exciting Duhallow football final, and it's all to be played for again. No presentation of the cup yet. Kanturk still in it after 35 years. Kiskeam still in it, last year's champions. So it's going to replay, and both teams are going away, and we haven't a date fixed for the replay, but we'll know it very shortly, and they'll be back here in Banteer again, or maybe in Rockchapel if the field is good enough. It was Rockchapel's fixture in the first place. It came to Banteer, but more than likely it will be here in Banteer again, and these teams will go in very closely matched in the next day as they did today, because there was nothing between them at the end. A draw in this Duhallow football final of 1997, and great expectations of the replay whenever it is.